Welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast. My name is Madi, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Ben. And it is great to have you join us for this episode.
Yes, hello listeners. Hello Maddie, and welcome to episode number 159 today. And Maddie, what are we talking about on Arsenal Kids Podcast this time around?
We will look at the men's team 3-0 will win over Forest,
As they return to Premier League action in style following the international break. And then, in part number 2.
In part 2, we will look at some news from around the club,
Including Ben White's injury, Mikel Arteta reaching 250 games as men's team manager, the club's collaboration with Women in Football, the change in venue for our Women's Champions League clash with Bayern Munich, and if we have time, we might squeeze in a loan watch, but Maddie also has some very exciting news to share.
Sounds like a big episode.
They always are. But before we get into it, a quick reminder, we would love for you to help us to grow our Arsenal Kids community, so please share our podcast with others.
We would love for you to join us on this adventure together.
We would indeed. And Maddie, Mikel Arteta made 5 changes to the last men's team squad that played, which was prior to the international break. And with Nottingham Forest coming into the game level on points with us, this looked like it could be a difficult encounter, even though we were playing at home.
But the Gunners were dominated for the start.
And we almost had the dream start when the ball was in the back of the net on 4 minutes as Martin Odegaard, making his first Emirates Stadium appearance in 84 days, clipped a free kick onto the head of Mikel Merino, who scrambled at goalwards, and the rebound from the keeper was smashed in by Urian Timber. The offside flag went up, but it took a lengthy VAR check to ensure that it was the right decision.
But then 10 minutes later, we did trick the scoreboard.
And it was all thanks to some Bukayo Saka magic. Some brilliant close control saw him collect a lofted Jorginho pass. He found Odegaard, who played a clever pass back into the England international, who surged past 3 defenders across the edge of the area before rifling the ball back across his body in the opposite direction, past the keeper into the net for his 3rd successive goal against Forest, and making the scoreline
1-0 to Arsenal.
And the team looked sharp in the opening half, mostly, I think, due to the return of our captain. But despite Saka getting another shot on target, the teams went into that halftime break with Arsenal just 1 goal to the good. But then 6 minutes after the restart, Saka was involved again in our second goal of the night as he picked up possession on the right and took his time before finding our Ghanaian Thomas Partey on the edge of the box. With acres of space around him, he took a touch before whipping a shot past the keeper to give us a second goal and the lead cushion that we craved.
Forest, on the other hand, did not even have a shot on the target.
Instead, it was more about whether Arsenal could extend the scoreline, and our teenage sensation Ethan Nwaneri was up for that challenge as he tricked his way past the defender and whipped the shot in, but saw it flash just wide. But then, on 85 minutes, his big moment arrived, and it was fellow substitute Raheem Sterling, who was the creator, getting down the right, cutting the ball back to the 17-year-old to pinpoint it into the bottom corner to secure a moment he'll never forget, scoring his first Premier League goal and is also our youngest Englishman to ever score in the league.
The options then thought they had got a goal back
when it was in the net, but the player was offside, and so the game. It ended with that scoreline of 3-0, a clean sheet and a decent margin of victory on a milestone afternoon for our club and our manager. And that result now leaves us in 4th place on the Premier League table with 22 points, still trailing Liverpool, who sit first ahead of us by 9 points at the moment.
And next up for the team, Ben?
Next up, Maddie, is back into Champions League action as the men's team, they head to Portugal ready to take on Sporting Lisbon in midweek.
Okay, well, let's leave it there for part 1, and we will be right back after this with part number 2. Welcome back, Ben. And let's get straight into our manager's 250th game.
Sure thing, Maddie, and it has been nearly 5 years since the Spaniard first sat in our dugout as our boss. That is Mikel Arteta. And the stats show that so far his tenure has been successful because no manager has picked up more wins in their first 250 games in all competitions than Mikel, who has 147. That is 11 more than second on the list, none other than Arsene Wenger.
It is great recording of winning, and let's hope it continues.
Let's hope it continues indeed. And if it does, it will be, though, without Benjamin White. However, who, as we reported last episode, is injured, and he's now set for a lengthy spell on the sidelines after undergoing knee surgery during the international break. Having been a mainstay in the side for the last 3 seasons, he's struggled for full fitness throughout this campaign, and the decision was made that surgery would be the best course of action. It is unfortunate that we'll lose him for what might be some months, but the club felt it was necessary to protect Ben from continuing to play in pain. We don't know exactly when he will be back quite yet, but we will be sure to let you know as soon as we do.
Moving on, Ben, and our women team has joined forces with the women in football.
They have, Maddie, and this is part of our club's commitment to continue building a diverse and inclusive club for our people. And this collaboration sees us join as Women in Football's latest corporate member, which gives all our people access to the training sessions, as well as places for our female members of staff to join the renowned Women in Football Leadership course, and that's in partnership with Barclays.
It is part of building a diverse and inclusive club.
And it is enabled by good education and training, career opportunities, better data and insights, and this partnership are the next steps forward on this journey.
And talking of next steps, and how are some of our players going on loan, Ben?
Well, good news for some of our men's team players, Madi, who are getting regular game time and starting games at the moment, with Sambi Lokonga getting another 90 minutes with Seville in Spain. Reece Nelson started Fulham's most recent defeat, and that was at home to Wolves. Fabio Vieira also got 90 minutes for FC Porto, and goalkeeper Carl Hines spent the full game between the sticks for Real Valladolid. In women's football, Anne Michelle Adjemang on loan. She played the full 90 for Brighton and Hove Albion as they face Leicester City in the Conti Cup, a game which saw Brighton lose 4-3 on penalties after a 0-0 draw at the end of regulation time.
And talking of women's games, and a Champions League tie has changed locations.
Yes, the game against Bayern Munich, originally scheduled to be at the Emirates due to a series of events, all of which individually would have been fine, but when they were all lumped together, meant that the game could not be played there. And so, in negotiation with UEFA, Arsenal have been granted special dispensation for the match to be played at Meadow Park, knowing now that qualification is secure, it will be still a good game as we seek to test ourselves against some strong opposition. But Maddie, finally, lastly but not leastly, and you have some exciting news to share. Can you do that for us now?
Sure. I can confirm that I will be officially mascot for the upcoming women's friendly between the Australian Matildas and Brazil.
Yes, and that match is going to be played in southeast Queensland, Brisbane at Suncorp Stadium. And I received a message from our amazing Ripley Valley Football Club president, Chris, who said due to Maddie's involvement in football over the past few seasons, she had the opportunity to do this for herself and the club. And she was pretty excited, to say the least, when I told her about it.
I don't know yet who I will be walking on with into the pitch with.
No, we don't know. We'll find out when we see you walk out with them, Maddie. We can hope or dream it might be one of the Arsenal women's trio of either Steph Catley, Caitlin Ford or Kyra Cooney-Cross, but we'll wait and see in a couple of days who it's going to be.
I'm so excited. Okay, well, let's wrap it up for this episode. Thanks again for joining us on Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Before we sign off, we want to express our gratitude for your continued support. If you haven't already, follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss us in the future, because remember, it's your love for the beautiful game that fuels our passion.
And we will love for you to spread the word about Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Yes, please share our podcast with any other Arsenal kids you know and help us to grow this amazing community together.
We hope to join you back in the pitch again soon.
Keep the spirit of the game alive, and until next time.
Goodbye!